What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Motorfest. So I did once again want to go over another idea I have been thinking about recently on this game. Now I would like to share many of these because who knows, they might end up showing up in the future. Now for this one though, the big question I'm asking in this video, should the rewards, the money, and the drops you get from these events be different based on the difficulty you are running this event on? For example, should you get way less money or maybe even a less of a chance to get gold parts on level 1? Whereas on level 5, you should probably get more money instead of just more XP, and of course have a lot more chances of getting gold parts to drop for that matter. We can also see something like this in the Crew 2 in basically most racing games as well. Now you can also find a good example of this even in the Crew 2 before, because back then if you did do an event on, let's say, level normal, and I guess you could say level hard or level ace, it almost sounds like you're saying like number A or something like that, but if you were to be doing an event like that back then, let's say you are doing normal on that difficulty, you are then going to get less money and most likely get green or blue parts from the entire time you do it. And then of course if you actually move that said event over to hard mode, you are then going to get around 2 to 3,000 more dollars after you move that said event over to hard mode. And then of course you're also going to get most likely blue slash purple parts from it. So I would say increasing the difficulty in that game did make a big difference. And then of course the next difficulty after that is going to be the Ace mode, which of course is going to be the exact same thing on Motorfest 2 level 5, which I would say is probably going to be fairly similar. But I have to admit level 5 on Motorfest is by far going to be harder with the AI compared to the Crew 2 before, like not even going to lie on that one. But I also have to admit though, on Ace though, you would get the maximum amount of money from each event you did, and you would also most likely get purple and gold parts every time you did them. Whereas of course on Motorfest, if you did a level 1 event, you would actually get mostly green and blue parts from it, and sometimes you would most likely get a gold. Now what I do find kind of funny about this though is you would think on level 5 you would most likely get a lot more gold parts than you would on level 1. It does turn out though I did actually do a lot of testing on this previously, and it does turn out level on it does not actually matter whatsoever. Now I would say this would most likely annoy some players, but I have to admit, don't you think it would make a lot more sense if you would get more gold parts on level 5 compared to level 1? But wait a quick second, so you're telling me I should be getting more parts and money from being at a higher difficulty compared to a lower one? Am I using too much of my brain right now? Does that not make any sense? Or maybe in fact it does make a lot of sense because you should be getting more money and parts if you are going to be on something like an ace difficulty or even on level 5. I would say getting the same amount of money on level 5 and also level 1 doesn't honestly make that much sense. Now, I do know they most likely did this on purpose because it is going to increase the XP you get, and in reality, you would most likely think you should be getting better parts from the events, but I did end up testing out this exact same theory in a different video, where I would basically go over the same event 15 times with two different vehicles, running the said difficulty like 1 through 5, basically going 3 times in each one, and then of course doing a total of 15 with each car I did use. I have to admit I was kind of surprised that running the difficulties did not matter whatsoever, and upon first glance though, you're probably going to be aiming at the highest difficulty possible, that way you do get the best rewards you possibly can get, and I would say in most circumstances that would probably make the most sense. Now don't get me wrong though, I'm not saying the entire design is going to be like a flop or it's not going to be like a good way to do it. I would actually say it's probably going to be a very solid design for the most part, but I would recommend actually increasing the money going from level 1 to level 5 that way, and of course getting a lot more gold parts being on the highest difficulty compared to the lower one. Like for example, when you log on to a game, you're most likely going to be on the highest difficulty in there. That way you can actually get the best parts or like the best drops possible. This can go for like Dark Souls or certain games like that. Like if you are looking for the highest difficulty, that normally means the best rewards possible. But of course, in some games, that's not going to be the case. Now, I would say, as I did mention before, they can easily update this in the future, and to most likely make it so level 5 does give you more gold parts on drop, and you would also make a lot more money from being on level 5 compared to like a lower level. And of course, on the flip side, you're also still going to get more XP, which, of course, right now is going to be the main case with the overall design in this game. Now, I do want to mention, though, I'm not saying it's going to be a terrible way to do this, because I do think the overall design of how the difficulty is right now isn't going to be bad in any way, because all of this can be updated in the future. I mean, to be honest, I can't lie here, guys. We're only going to be in Season 2. Like, it is going to be the early stages of Motorfest. Like, we are currently going to be past month number 3 and also approaching 4 pretty dang quick. You know, because time is going way too dang fast for its own good. But I do have to admit, though, even though we are going to be early on in this game, things like this can definitely change in the future. Now, I would like to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Would you like to see a difference with the overall difficulty design in Motorfest right now? Would you guys like to see something change with this, like maybe the amount of money you get, or like even the amount of stuff you might actually get from being at a higher difficulty? But I would like to know your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. Do you think we should have better rewards and drops going out on the higher difficulties? Or should it remain the exact same way it is right now? Or should it be similar to the Crew 2?